This is the Volvo EX30, and it might be one of the most significant new electric car launches this year. In this video, we're explaining why, and we're taking a close look inside and out. But before we start, if you want to see lots more new car reveals and reviews, subscribe to our channel and go to whatcar.com for a great deal on your next car. It really feels like Volvo is priming itself to make a huge impact on the electric car market. It's already had some EVs around for a while now, of course, and both the XC40 and C40 are very good. But it's the next couple of fully electric models coming which could really stand out. One of those is the 7-seat £100,000 Volvo EX90. It's effectively a replacement for the XC90. And there aren't many 7-seat EVs around at all, so that could be a very interesting high-end option from the Scandinavian manufacturer. But it's this EX30 arriving before the EX90 which could really shake things up. The reason for the hype is the fact that this is an electric SUV that starts at just under £34,000. Now in the electric car world, nothing really is cheap, but that starting price could make this look very good value indeed. Especially because this should be really good. Of course, no one will really have any idea until it's been driven, but we do know that underneath this is very similar to the Smart #1. We recently tested the Smart against its best electric rivals here in the UK. You can read about it in our magazine and on our website, and it was absolutely fantastic. In fact, we think it's one of the very best electric SUVs that you can buy right now. But why is this new Volvo similar to the Smart? Well, Volvo, of course, is a Swedish brand, and its cars are designed in Sweden, most of them are built in Sweden, but it's owned by Geely, which is a Chinese firm that also owns a stake in Smart. So what you'll find underneath the new Smart #1 is also what you'll find underneath the new EX30, a Volvo which will be built in China and not Sweden. Geely provided the platform for this car, but Volvo tuned it and also did the design themselves as well. And you'd never really guess that this was related to the Smart #1, would you? It's got Volvo's signature headlight design here. It's also got C-shaped tail lights. One thing that does mark this out slightly from other electric Volvos is the fact that with the XC40 and with the C40, they get blanked off grills for the electric versions to make them look different from the fuel-powered versions. But with the EX30, there is no fuel-powered version, so it doesn't get a grille at all. You can, by the way, have 18, 19 or these 20-inch alloys with the EX30, and there are 5 different paint colours to choose from, including moss yellow, which apparently is inspired by lichen that grows on rocks on Sweden's west coast. Okay, inside. So, we're used to minimalist layouts from Volvo, but this does feel like the next level. There's no driver display. There's no buttons on the dashboard. The doors don't have speakers, and they don't have controls for the windows either. But you have controls for the windows on the center console, and you've also got a sound bar on top of the dashboard here. There also, like other Volvos, isn't a start button. The EX30 gets a digital key as standard. So effectively, you will get a credit card sized key thing, which you tap on the B pillar here to lock and unlock the car. But what most people will do is download the app so that then your phone becomes the key. And then you tap your phone on the B pillar here to do the same thing. That's if you go for the entry-level car though, because if you go for the top trim level, then essentially you get keyless entry. So your phone, because it's the key, when you approach the car, it will unlock, and when you walk away, it will lock. We've been told this smartphone key technology won't be available at launch, but will be added to the EX30 as an over-the-air update later on. So for the first people to buy the EX30, they will get a key fob and a key card, but will have to wait to turn their phone into the key itself. Something else that's new for the EX30 is the fact that when you spec this interior, you have to choose a room. There are 4 to choose from, and that decides things like the seat materials and the colours, and also the door card colours, and this trim that you can see on the dashboard here. So now we are sat in a breeze room, which gives us this particle decor trim that you can see on the EX30 here. And this apparently is made from discarded bits of plastic window frames and roller blinds. And every EX30 that has this fitted gets a different pattern. But something that's the same in every EX30 that you go for is this new 12.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Now, like lots of other Volvo and Polestar infotainment systems, it's been co-developed with Google. So you get things like Google Maps as standard.
And it also means you don't get Android Auto because the main operating system itself is very similar to it, but you do get wireless Apple CarPlay. And also on this infotainment system, because you don't have a driver display, your speedo is displayed on here as well. It also means, because there's no other physical buttons on this interior really, that all the climate controls are operated through the touchscreen infotainment system. There is a voice command function as well, but of course, like any other touchscreen only infotainment system, it is a shame there aren't more physical buttons to help operate it while you're moving. Other things to mention in this interior include a very snazzy cup holder setup, where you can see you can reveal 2 cup holders here. You can also close this by steps, you only have one. You can even conceal it completely or have it out and then only have 1 cup holder in place, so that it gives you this extra storage space as well. Now this central armrest, you can't actually lift up to reveal any storage underneath, but that's because you've got some storage at the very bottom of it, which also you can have access to from the rear seats. And by the way, the EX30 has a glove box, but it is not on the passenger side, it is actually in the middle. Now the Smart #1 is a great electric SUV, as we've already said, but it is definitely on the small side, especially by SUV standards. As you'd imagine, it's a similar story in the EX30, but these rear seats definitely aren't terrible when it comes to space back here. Children will be absolutely fine, and really you'd have to be over 6 foot to feel cramped back here. So headroom for me is all right, legroom as well, I can fit back here, and it doesn't feel incredibly cramped. And really, if you're looking for a car to carry around lots of tall people lots of the time, then you're going to be looking at a different class of car, aren't you? What you do get back here as well is, in that storage compartment we pointed out earlier, a removable bin with a picture of a moose on it.
The boot is a little bit bigger than the boot in the Smart, but still not very big for an SUV. You do get a height adjustable boot floor as standard though, which offers lots of space underneath. And there's a front boot, which is just about big enough for a charging cable. Thankfully, Volvo isn't copying sister brand Polestar and the new Polestar 4, which doesn't have a rear windscreen at all. As you can see, you get one here.
There are 2 trims you can choose from with the EX30, Plus and Ultra. But in the future, there's also going to be a Core model. Now that will be the most basic in terms of spec, but it will also be the cheapest. So pricing and specs haven't been finalised or announced yet, but we've been told to expect between £31,000 and £32,000 as the price for that entry-level Core model. And generally, pricing across the EX30 lineup, especially at that low end, looks very competitive. The EX30 is available with 2 different batteries. You can also have it with 1 electric motor driving the rear wheels, or 2 electric motors, making it 4-wheel drive. If you go for the lesser powered version of the EX30, then that's the one you can have with the smaller battery. And if you go for that, it's the cheapest EX30 at the minute, and it has an official range of around 214 miles. The EX30 with the longest range gets around 298 miles from a full charge. But what's more eye-catching than the range of this car is the performance on offer, because apparently the range-topping 4-wheel drive version of the EX30 can do 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 3.6 seconds, which is quicker than what a Porsche 911 Carrera S can manage. It's also very similar to a Tesla Model Y Performance, but the EX30 is more than £15,000 cheaper.
And it's not like the other versions of this car are slow either. As for charging speeds, the 49 kWh battery can take on electricity at a rate of up to 134 kilowatts, bringing it from 10 to 80% capacity in 26 minutes. And the 64 kWh battery requires just 2 minutes more if you can find a charger that supports its 153 kilowatt maximum rate. Charging from home via a 7 kilowatt wall box will take rather longer, as you'd expect, between 9.5 and 11.5 hours. You get an 11 kilowatt onboard charger as standard, but that does go up to a 22 kilowatt charger on range-topping models.
Another thing to mention is the fact that EX30 will get a cross-country version from next year. It will get a greater ground clearance than the standard car and also some off-road styling touches, similar to Volvo's other cross-country models. But it's not 100% confirmed for the UK though, so if you do want to see it over here, make sure you let Volvo know in the comments below. So that is everything we know so far about the Volvo EX30. Tell us what you think of the car in the comments below. If you want to watch another review, then click on the link up there. And you can also go straight to whatcar.com to see all of our amazing deals by clicking on that link.